So Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 tells the story of Michael Myers trying to hunt down his little sister Laurie Strode once again. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed that little intro I had at the beginning. That's my new intro since 31 on the 31 days of Halloween is over now. It's November, sadly. I have after Halloween depression. Speaking of that, I'm sorry, guys, I wasn't able to get all these reviews out before Halloween, but the month just flew right by. Halloween came and went. Halloween's every day for us horror fans, so that's a bright side. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Now, this movie, I'm glad I've seen it gain somewhat of a cult following over the past few years. Because, man, people really hate this movie for some reason. Like, they hate it, like, with a passion. I mean, this is usually what people consider the worst Halloween movie. Worst, and then following that would be Halloween Resurrection. Got the damn hiccups. But before I tell you my thoughts on this movie, let me tell you some of my positives. Now, starting off with my first positive, it's gonna be this movie is just... Okay, this movie is so different from the entire franchise. Not just the original films, but Rob Zombie's first remake. It is so different, so out there, and so... It really doesn't feel like a Halloween movie, but, I mean... It just has this, like, thing about it. Yeah, it's just, there's, like, this dread feeling with the movie. And you could tell there was actually a vision there. It's not just some half-assed remake of Halloween 2, 1981. There was actually a vision there. I'm able to separate this from the rest of the franchise. There's just this atmosphere in this movie. It just feels so, like, depressing and sad. And most of that revolves around the character of Laurie Strode. This Laurie Strode is different. She's like punky now. She works in like a record store. She's really interesting in this movie. Like, in the first Rob Zombie movie, she did her part. She wasn't bad. She wasn't great. I think she was fine. She was one of the more likable characters in that movie. She's no Jamie Lee Curtis. Her and Daniel Harris were the most likable characters in his first movie. Well, besides, of course, the stepdad, he was the best character.
Fucking horse! Alright, now clean it up!
But in this movie, you really see how she's going through really, this, like, traumatic state in her life, which 2 years ago, her stepmom was killed, her stepdad was killed, which she thinks is her actual mom and dad. Her friends was killed. She's really got nothing left. And that's not even the worst of it. Really, the worst of it comes later on in this movie. That's another positive in this movie, because in the original timeline, we never saw Laurie find out that she's Michael Myers' sister. The next time we see her after part 2, because we didn't find out in that movie, she already knows she's Michael Myers' sister for 20 years in Halloween H2O. We never see that initial reaction that she's Michael Myers' sister, so, yeah. This movie, you really get that. She's screaming all the time, having these attacks, taking pills, going to therapists, cursing all the time, really pissed off, having these miniature seizures, and having these nightmares, which I'm gonna defend this movie again. A lot of people say, oh, there's a 20-minute dream sequence at the beginning. What the hell? Really, that 20-minute dream sequence is only like 10 minutes out of that 20 minutes. Because everything else, with her walking down the street and Michael Myers coming out of the ambulance, that's all real. From when that nurse, she's like, oh, I need something for my head. From that point on, that's the dream sequence. So that's like 7 minutes out of a 21-minute time frame. But back to what I was saying, that whole sequence just shows what Laurie goes through on a nightly basis. Like, she's dreaming these really intense dreams of these really intense things happening with Michael. And it really just shows what she goes through on like a nightly basis. My next positive. The atmosphere in this movie, it's not so much like Halloween atmosphere, but it's just this like dreadful and sad, depressing atmosphere in this movie that none of the other movies capture. And really, this movie is its own thing, and I think this movie is the only movie in the franchise that could really capture this. Because I don't think it would work if the other movies did. There's like, as you're watching the movie, there's like this sad, depressing, and disturbing thing going around it, when really the first Rob Zombie's Halloween was really like more fun and like cheesy. Well, not really. It was still playing serious. It was still playing serious, but it was still like fun. This movie is serious, nonstop, just really gets into your mind, man. Especially when Daniel Harris dies, who survived in the last movie. You really feel it, because Brad Dourif, when he comes in, her father, when he comes in and he sees her body, it's like the acting is so good. The acting is so good. It's not like, oh my god, she's dead, and he's like crying. It's like really, it feels so real. He's going, oh god, and he feels like he just wants to like die when he sees his daughter dead, and yeah, it's really effective scene. It's really an effective scene, and they even like cap it off with like flashbacks of her opening like Christmas presents up when she was like 5 years old, and they just cap it off perfectly, man. Everything about this scene is awesome, but in a bad way, but also in a good way. And then just from that moment on, throughout the end of the movie, you just get this feeling that this is not going to end well. And that brings me to the ending. Now, the ending is nothing special, but there's something about the ending, I don't know, like the sequence of events that take place really just like makes me feel like it, when after the movie ends and the credits roll, it just makes you feel like you just think about the movie. It doesn't get out of your head. You just keep thinking about it, and it leaves you in like a depressing mood after you see it. Also, I don't mind Loomis in this movie. Now, mainly because he redeems himself at the end, really. He tries to redeem himself at the end, and he does so. But I don't mind him in this movie also, because that is something that could really happen to a person after, alright, they're making money off of their psychiatrist patients, killers, victims. They're making money off of it. He wrote a book on Michael Myers, and he's a real piece of shit in this movie, and he's like, oh, if I want your opinion, I'll beat it out of you. And he's just like a real asshole, but he redeems himself at the end, and that's something that really could happen. But if they did this with the Donald Pleasance version of Dr. Loomis, I would be pissed off. But I think this works more for Malcolm McDowell's versions. Also, the kills in this movie are gory as hell. Way more gory than his first movie. This Up to Halloween Kills is the goriest Halloween movie yet. I think. But it probably is. It definitely is, guys. And there's not too much white trashy dialogue in this, unlike his first movie. Alright, now let's move into my negatives. Now, my first negative I'm a bit mixed on, but that's stupid white horse bullshit. Now, alright, on the plus side, it adds like this creepiness to the movie, and it's otherworldly, but really, it's not Michael. It's not what Michael would do. It's like, what the hell is this doing here? I can't tell if it's real or in his head, because why is Laurie feeling it? It's ambiguous, that's what it is. But in all seriousness, guys, that was not needed in the film at all. you could just wipe that out. And also, people that defend this movie, they say, oh, the reason Michael doesn't wear his mask for most of the movie is because when he puts on the mask on, when he's about to kill someone, and that makes the mask more special. Now, as much as I love this movie, yes, I guess, but very little. Because it's a huge sin to unmask Michael Myers. It really is. As much as I love this movie, that is something, much as I love H2O, why you showing his eyes? It's like that, but a little bit worse. And one of the biggest what the fuck were you thinking moments in cinematic history, they make Michael talk at the end.
Michael, for God in heaven, die! Oh!
Why is Michael talking? And that's the only thing he has to say. Well, guys, those are my thoughts on Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Let me know your thoughts on the comments below. I could probably already guess a few. But let me know if you like this movie or hate it. Anyway, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I would give this movie 8.5 out of 10. I really love this movie. Yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon.